What is going on, guys? MJ2005 Gundam here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys my top 10 wants Gunpla list for 2021. Now, as you guys may know, Gunpla is a little bit scarce when it comes to 2021 because there is no new Gunpla for 2 whole months apart from Premium Bandai, and the release schedules have only listed up to the end of summer, as far as we can assume. So, here, these kits could still make it onto the list. There is a slim chance. But to bring you this list, there are no rules whatsoever. I can list any kit that I hope to see in the future, and so can you. This is a little bit of a discussion video as well, so if you have anything that you want to see as a Gunpla kit form, regardless of grade, although I know I am very biased towards high grades because I've built them for all my career, please tell me in the comments below. So without further ado, let's get into the list. Starting us off at number 10, I would want to see a high-grade reverse turn X or the Dubious Arche Gundam. I don't care if it is a full set or just the unit and weapons separated, but I would love to see them nonetheless, just because this has been a burning question in a lot of Re-Rise fans' minds. Where the hell are the rest of Alice's armors? Because even though they are a rip-off of the kits that we have seen from before, they still are pretty awesome designs and unlocks a lot more possibilities onto our customizations of the core Gundam. Plus, there has been a builder that I've seen online who has actually made the Dubious Arche armor with the resin, and that proves to us that it is mechanically and physically possible for the Dubious Arche armor to exist, and with that fact in mind, it should not be too far-fetched to say that the reverse turn X is also physically and mechanically possible. And of course, they are awesome designs that I would love to see in Gunpla form and also have in my collection, although it would be a curse to me just because I've just finished filming all the stock footage for the Core Gundam compilation. I would still love to see them in my collection. Next up at number 9, I would love to see Bandai make a high-grade Gundam Destiny Sky. Now, if you ask me whether I prefer this guy to the Double Sky, including the Mobius, I would still prefer the Gundam Destiny Sky, just because even though I absolutely detest the waist-mounted wings because that just looks disgusting, I still prefer the Destiny Sky due to the fact that it looks less cartoonish than the Double Sky, and I like how it still uses GN swords. Plus, I like how sleek the design of the Destiny Sky is when compared to even the original 00, but still keeps the signature features of the 00 and the Destiny in one kit. They can also cash in on the Trans Am Eternity version, so yeah, that's easy cash for ya, Bandai. Moving on to number 8, the Grammary has reignited my hopes for this one, the high-grade Gundam Vual Yuhana. This thing has been revealed alongside the Grammary for its own batch of mecha design reveals, and I really do hope that the Vual Yuhana does actually get a kit now that the high-grade Gundam Grammary is going to be a thing. So yeah, I do really like this design because it doesn't steal too much from the Astaroth origin. It also does have some pretty unique weapons like the flipping chainsaws and the modular weapons that it carries on the back. Plus, it could be a really good way to advertise the anti-material rifle that was only a magazine exclusive back when the Astaroth came out. So, I also do like the more friendlier design when it comes to the head sculpt and the color scheme, just because Vual in demonology is more like a benevolent demon that causes friendships between friends and foes, and also gives love of women. So I feel like the design of the Vual Yuhana does really fit the demon, and it's also another Gundam frame, come on. But Vual is only a close competition when it comes to number 7, the ethereal entity that is the high-grade Phantom Gundam or Ghost Gundam. I put them on the same entry just because they are actually identical. They both have the Phantom Light, they both have the exact same accessories, they both have the mobile armor mode, it's just that their colors are different. I wouldn't actually mind if Bandai actually made the Phantom Gundam into a regular release while keeping the Ghost Gundam for a premium release. Plus, the X04 cloth actually deployed alongside the Ghost, so I really hope Bandai actually make the Phantom Gundam and set up the stones for the Ghost Gundam, just because I love that design. They also made a robot Damacy of the Phantom Gundam, so I would really want them to take that engineering and put it into a model kit just so the pair can exist. Plus, Phantom Light, who wouldn't say no to that? Next up at number 6, it's back to demons for us, because I would love to see Bandai make a high-grade Gundam Dantalion Perfect Cowl. Now, I cannot stress this enough, the Dantalion is the next milking machine following the Gundam Barbatos due to how many variants it has. Now, I wouldn't mind if Bandai actually just full on releases the perfect Cowl, or just periodically release all the different packs that are required for us to make the perfect Cowl Dantalion. I just want that thing to actually exist in Gunpla form. There is a scratch build out there that proves that it is mechanically possible for the Gundam Dantalion Perfect Cowl to exist, so I really want Bandai to actually make that thing now that they are actually putting some attention into the IPO line with the Gundam Granbury. I don't care how long I have to wait, but preferably it will be out in winter. But the only limiting factor that the Dantalion has is that the Perfect Cowl is not canon yet. I did not know why they decided to stop Gecko when the story is not actually finished, because we already foresaw the Gundam Asteroid Origin fighting against the Sierra in the future, so why did they stop it? I don't know, but hopefully they will cash in on the Dantalion Perfect Cowl actually existing in the Gundam canon, just so they can make some more money and make us happy with the different armor packs of the Dantalion. Of course, in 2021, we have to celebrate Gundam Age's 10th anniversary with number 5, my personal selection for that being the high-grade H1 Swordia. Now, I know a lot of people, when it comes to Gundam Age, would actually want the Master Grade H3 and Master Grade HFX that was revealed years ago to be released eventually. But personally, I'm not really a big fan of Master Grades, as you guys know, so I will pick for the remaining variants of the Age Gundams that haven't been released in high grade form, the H1 Swordia. Not counting anything from Unknown Soldiers and only from video games and all that kind of stuff. The H1 Swordia actually appeared in Memories of Eden, so that's why I would love to see the H1 Swordia come out as a kit. They've been giving attention to the H1 by releasing the Tri-Age Gundam, and of course the unbelievably weak Tri-Age Magnum, and I would love to finally see the Swordia wear pack be translated into a high grade just because of the knightly design. I would love to steal the weapons for a custom or just leave it on a Swordia just because they just look so good for a knight's theme. And to my knowledge, we don't get much choice when it comes to kits that have actual medieval looking weapons, so the H1 Swordia would definitely be a welcome addition into my collection if they actually make it. Next up at number 4, I would love to see Bandai make a high grade or a real grade of the Exia R4. Now, I don't care if it's premium or not, so don't come at me whining if it's actually premium when they decide to make that thing, but the Exia R4 design is one that I desperately want. It only exists in metal build form now, but yeah, the asymmetrical design with Graham Acre affecting the design, I really do like the left frame arm. And of course, all the weapons being mounted onto the back and onto the right shield binder, which is very nice. And I think if the R4 is going to be made, it is going to be the first Gunpla that actually has different styles of hands in humanoid proportions, because the left hand is actually a sharp finger one and the right hand is just the original Exia hand. So the uniqueness of this thing, and of course I do love all the swords that it carries, so I really do hope Bandai would actually take the R4 design and actually make it into a kit. But if they are actually going to make it into a high grade, I hope they actually base it off of the Transient Gundam's frame, just to give us a more updated version of the Exia in high grade form. Following up on the 00 theme, in number 3, I hope Bandai will make a high grade or a real grade ELS Qan. Now, ever since I saw that thing in Cross Race, I was just enamored by its design. And of course, the fighting capabilities, just because it is literally out of this world. It can summon sword bits that I don't think they will actually make if they actually translate that design to a kit. And I really do like the ELS Blaster and the ELS Slasher. They could literally just give us different arm extensions just to accommodate for the different weapons. The ELS Blaster, they can easily make the blade flip back for the different modes, and the ELS Slasher, they can easily provide us with different blade pieces for the open and closed forms. I would really love Bandai to actually create the ELS Qan, even if it means doing up the fading detail of the 8 tails on the back ourselves. So yeah, I would actually love to put in the effort to make the ELS Qan look the best in my collection if they actually do make a kit of that one. And they can actually make 2 more color schemes on top of the regular color version, because you can actually see that it is in full silver before it's activated in Cross Race, and they can also make a Trans Am version, so that's also easy money there. Number 2 is going to be interesting just because we don't even have a proper English name for this one. But please, check the upload date when you're watching this, just because I do not want to see people correct me 2 years in the future saying that it is called this, it is called that, when I already knew way ahead of you. But anyways, this thing is the Arche Gundam. Had to say in the Japanese just because we only have that, but I'm gonna throw the name up on the screen so it doesn't really matter too much. Now, this looks to be an avian theme armor for the core Gundam Rise, because it does look like it has some dodo feet, and it does look like it has some wings and some avian features on the actual armor. But the main striking thing is it does actually use some pieces from the Anima Rise armor, due to the fact that it does at least use the smoke pieces from the Anima Rise armor. So that is basically perfect for what I want to go for if I do actually see this design, because I would love to customize this armor for my own core Gundam, if you guys don't know. But anyways, the Excellia Gundam is actually a orange and black design from the cover of the 3rd issue of Gundam Build Diver Rise, and yeah, it's another core Gundam that uses like some of the parts from the Anima Rise armor. So if they actually make it, it's gonna be way easier than actually manufacturing the Dubious Arc and the Reverse Turn X armor, so there's a higher chance that we'll actually see the Excellia Gundam be made into a Gunpla. So hopefully that is gonna be the case. Finally, at number 1, this is going to be a very selfish choice. I would love to see Bandai make a high-grade Extreme Gundam type Leos 2 Versus. I think all of you have seen this coming from me, just because I do love the Extreme Gundam. Like, I would maybe like to say more than the Barbatos, I'm not really too sure, but it is an obscure design that I absolutely love. Now, on the condition that Bandai actually creates a new mold for the Extreme Gundam, just because the original one will not cut it, no matter if it's in the terms of looks, articulation, or just the engineering allowing for the design to actually be reused for the Type Leos 2 Versus. Yeah, this design, I love the wings, I love the weapons, I love how compact the Exaface is made into one kit, and I do like how Leos actually kept the majority of the design cues from the original Extreme Gundam while making it very unique. Even Meijin Kawaguchi states that it could be a high-grade Extreme Gundam custom build in Extreme Versus when the Hot Scramble is deployed alongside the Type Leos 2 Versus. So I would absolutely beg for Bandai to actually create this design, especially when they did near nothing when it comes to Gunpla for celebrating the 10th anniversary of Extreme Versus. Moving on to honorable mentions that I would gloss over very quickly. First of all, we have the Extreme Gundam Excellia. Meijin also has remarks for this one, being inspired by a mage, which I do start to agree now that he says that, because I cannot unsee the mage vibe from the Extreme Gundam Excellia. Plus, it would be very good to complete the actual couple, but the Extreme Gundam Excellia is kind of like F91 height, so I don't know how Bandai will actually try to do that. If not, they would actually create a whole new mold if they want to create that design for a release, but it still would be interesting to see nonetheless. Moving on to honorable mention number 2, we have the Lord Astray Omega. Now, the Lord Astray Double Rebate is not necessarily the best kit that has came out of 2020, but the Lord Astray that is housed inside of the Double Rebate armor is actually pretty good, and I actually did remark that I would love to see them use this for future Lord Astray variants. The one I'm interested the most is the Lord Astray Omega, just because we actually knew something about it, thanks to its inclusion in Cross Rays. Because the Buster Sword is basically a multi-tool. You can make it into a dual blade, you can make it into a gigantic freaking whip, or you can just use it as a straight up Buster Sword. Plus, the design doesn't need to be modified too much in order to modify the Double Rebate parts into the Lord Astray Omega parts. So Bandai doesn't really have to put too much effort into making the Lord Astray Omega, apart from providing a new head sculpt and removing all the pegs from wherever the pegs are on the Double Rebate. So that is basically their job done for them. So all they need to do is just cut out the pegs. Plus, it will be interesting to see in the global market, and a lot of people would appreciate that, because it will be the first release of Gundam Seed Princess of the Sky. Finally, in the honorable mentions list, this is going to be a very far-fetched one just because it is hailing from the very obscure corners of G Gundam. I would love to see Bandai make a high-grade King of Hearts. This has been made into a resin kit before, so that's what made me a little bit more confident that the Bandai will actually maybe take notice of this design and actually make it into a Gunpla kit, although they haven't been doing crap for G Gundam since the Death Army. But back to the King of Hearts. This design is my favorite among the original Shuffle Alliance designs, and I really do like the heart emblem mode that I wouldn't mind being formed by parts forming the entire thing, but I would like to see Bandai execute it anyways. It is looking like the Master Gundam, it does have the features of the Master Gundam, but it is not the Master Gundam that doesn't allow you to buy it separately without buying Food Psyche, thus adding to the price. So I would love to see Bandai actually make the King of Hearts for no particular reason other than I really like it. Plus, it has made a brief cameo in Gundam Build Fighters, only to be defeated by the Finishiri Nashta, if you guys remember. So that reinforces my own opinion. So this wraps it up for my top 10 ones for Gunpla for 2021, plus 3 honorable mentions, although one of them is very freaking far-fetched. So please, tell me in the comments below what you think of the list, what would you actually like to see from Bandai in 2021. Like I said, grade is not an issue here, nor is possibility. Just speak your heart out when it comes to Gunpla that you will love to see from Bandai, especially in 2021. So that's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did like it, please be sure to drop a like, comment, and also subscribe for more Gunpla reviews, Gunpla news, and all that kind of stuff. Subscribe to the Victor channels on my channel page if you haven't, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.